These cats better stop fighting. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. All right. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Thank you guys for joining me on this Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Make sure you guys hit the like button as soon as you get in here. Answer the poll if you can. It does help out the channel, helps out growth, all of that stuff. Um, Obviously, the market doesn't look the best today, so you have to kind of zoom out to get any type of positivity, especially when you're looking at some of the top plays here. Um, but either way, it's setting ourselves up for decent increases and a decent look on the markets for the future. Because obviously, seeing growth, you have to see some form of retracement. You have to. It says that monetization is off. For what reason? It's on. For some reason, it says it's off. But make sure you guys hit the like button. We got 65 people that are here, 24 likes. We'd like to be at about half of what the concurrent viewers are. So now it's at 70. I would say like 35 likes if you can. Answer the poll in the chat as well. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Southpaw Slinger. What's the XRP news? There's not much XRP news. It's mainly just the conversations that people have, the arguments back and forth about XRP and whether it can be or will be as important or as expensive price wise, market cap wise, in the future. And really, it's that argument back and forth. It's just the same argument that they've had with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with many others that have broken past that ceiling that everybody tends to give it, right? It's like when you have something that it's like you have a tree and then someone built a house around it. You have a small tree, someone built a house. They keep trying to build a newer house with a larger ceiling, right? But they continue to give it that ceiling knowing that it has endless potential to grow, right? Um, that's basically what people are doing. Every place that we go, we were at 17 cents. It can't get to these higher levels of $3 and 80 something cents, which would have been $100+ billion market cap at that time. Then you add on more supply, and people are like, it's not even going to get back to a 60 billion. They set that barrier, that ceiling, and guess what? You broke through it, right? 60 billion, 70, 80, 100 billion. People said they cannot get to 150. It's not going to get to a 200, and it broke through both of those ceilings, right? So it continues to grow, continues to be worth more and more, and it's not necessarily like I don't like to be like, oh, well, yeah, I just keep proving myself right or anything like that and proving everybody else wrong. I want people to succeed. I don't care who you are. You can be, talking negative on this position for your entire life. Um, but if you're able to succeed from it, if you're able to find some success, I'm happy for you, right? You have to feel some type of way knowing that you talked a ton about this project, but then you finally make money from it or you finally become successful in life. And it's because of that thing that you've been, kind of punching while it was on the ground for the longest time. You know what I mean? Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Justin. Um, good morning, Pete. Good morning, Christopher Paul. Fast Nickel, good morning. Anthony, dumping like trash. Hopefully, we get some great news today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Patient Patience is running thin. Well, yeah, patience for what? XRP is running thin. I mean, for me, it's not. I know that some people will look at this. I was watching some videos on XRP and the potential growth, all of that stuff from some big creators as well, that I plan on putting out a reaction for. um, because I didn't, I wanted to kind of finish it up later, and it's just always interesting to me to see different perspectives, and the way people believe that XRP is going to flow, and how it's going to impact the world, and how crypto in general is going to impact the world. And then they realize that, XRP is kind of that, it looks like could be and should be the main focal point of cryptocurrency. So it's just interesting watching those videos. Yo, Matt, I am too bullish. Hoping to cash out 20K this cycle from 2,000 XRP, 6,000 H bar, and zero point 0.5 ETH and 10,000 CRO. I think you got it right. I think the 10,000 CRO, obviously by itself, as I look at that level of $1 and $2 and the levels that it can and should get to, this altcoin season, just from that alone, you should be able to receive that. Now, I don't know what you're looking to do with your XRP, and whether you're going to, slowly take profit if you have an exit plan established, or what. But I was getting kind of some backlash, I guess, because of my video about my reality for XRP being $100, right? I know that it probably will be worth more than that. But the fact that I have an exit plan means that it means that, one, I'm going to have a certain amount left over, so I'm going to be able to utilize it and also see the growth from a smaller amount of XRP, not the largest amount. And many people were like, what if it does get to that level of $10,000 and you had, 100, 200,000 XRP? And they're like, would you be upset at yourself for selling early? And I'm like, no, I don't necessarily need that much money. I would be great to be able to help out people if I did have that much money, because it would just be to a point to where whatever I'm gaining at the end of this, if it is, $5 million, right? I'm happy with that and being able to utilize that towards, my dividend portfolio and retirement and long-term investing, right? Real estate as well. But and also I have to factor in taxes into that. It should be long-term taxes, which is great. But the point that I'm trying to make is the fact that if I had, $100 million that I gained from it, you would have 90 million, probably 95 million that goes towards, just giving to people, and finding ways to give back in any way that I can, whether it's in improving parks or improving, you know, ways of living, and improving or helping out, shelters, that I stayed in my childhood. So like it, I feel like I would just help out as much as possible, and I still wouldn't take the money or pocket the money for myself. So hopefully that would obviously take away from my taxable income, so that I can put more towards the charities and helping people. But obviously I'm not a tax professional, so I'll have to get some tax advice, because as soon as I make that much money, or however much that money is, I do plan on taking a lot of that and just finding ways. One, go to an accountant and say, if I help out so many people, how much will that reduce that taxable income so that I can give more, right? If I can get taxed less on 95 million, um, and give more of that 95 million to the people that need it, that would be great. But anyways, that's only if that would be the case where I would make that much money. You know what I mean? But my plan is set for what I'm kind of trying to gain in life, and then whatever else I can gain above that, I would love to give. I still give now either way, but dumping. Yo, yo, good morning. You need some chicken or watermelon? What? That is wild. And I mean, I'm I don't even know how to answer that. That's a wild statement. Wow. You're telling people your holdings. Don't ever. I mean, oh, you're talking to this person on how much they're holding? I mean, the point when you deal with that, like you have to understand if you have billions of dollars or if you have hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever, there's no point for you going out and being like, oh, I have this much and this is where I keep it and all this. That's not what you want to do. But when you have thousands of dollars, you're working your way up. It's always great to help people learn. And sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes they make mistakes. You can learn from each other. It's always great to be able to share information in a way. Um, but obviously, if you get to a point where, let's say, somebody had 1,000 Bitcoin, what's the point of you sharing how much you have? Just talk about the fact that you bought Bitcoin early and held Bitcoin early. And you don't have to go through the fact that you have multiple millions of dollars. Unless you're looking to give to people, then you'd be like, this is how much I'm planning on giving. Dumping. It's above $3. Wait, oh, dumping question mark. It's above $3. What if I see resistance level being built before all the good news come out and it goes to 10? Oh, what I see. I can't see this at all. I should increase the size of this text. Um, when I say the resistance levels being built before all the good news come out and it goes to $10, that would be amazing. Obviously, I would love for that, and many other people would as well. But there's so many other resistance points. Are you talking about support level? But there's so many other. Um, oh no, because it built that resistance up at 365. That's what you're saying. Um, but there's so many levels in between where we are and the $10 mark that we should see resistances from. But it's uncharted waters, right? It's a place we haven't been. How will crypto fare today after today's meeting? I'm not sure how it will fare. We will have to see. Let's see. Do you think 100K XLM is a good number? I mean, it sounds like a good number. 100K, if anything, sounds like a good number. I don't know where XLM is in price. Let's see. XLM currently stands at 40 cents. So 100K. I mean, that's yeah. I don't think that's a. I think that's a great number. It currently sits at a $12.6 billion market cap, and I think it has a lot more potential to grow. Having 100K. Where did you buy? Like, what's your cost basis? I would assume that it's low. I would assume that you didn't pay. Um, I mean, maybe you did. That's a decent amount. What is that about 40? Uh, if you bought at this level right here and bought 100K, it would be about $40,000. Is that accurate to say, or where did you purchase at? Jasmy. What about Jasmy? Jasmy is a great play. I'm still hype on it. Still have my leverage trades as well as my outright holdings. Speaking of leverage trading, if you guys want to start leverage trading today, feel free to check out my link in the chat for BTCC. It's a great platform that you can get a 10% deposit bonus, extra bonuses up to $10,055, 40% lower trading fees, and you could trade all the way up to a 500x leverage. I don't ever recommend it. I've probably done it 3 or 4 times. I've been positive every single time, which is great, but it's by luck, right? you have to literally get the bottom or the top, depending if you're shorting or going long of that price in order for you to be profitable, because if it drops by 0.5%, you lose everything that you put in there. Now, granted, all the ones that I did were only like $20 investments. And I think there was one that was $100 investment and it was positive and it worked out really, really well. Because with the small movement up created large movement for my portfolio, if that made sense. So anyways, check out that link down below. I have a couple of trades in my possession, which I'm looking for some opportunities today with the market being down. I have, auction that's down by 27%. I have compound that's down by 18% here. I have Ethereum that's up by 667%, 373% for Caspa. I'm up a decent amount on a lot of these leverage trades that are 10x leverages, 2x leverages, and I'm looking to add more into my portfolio very, very soon. Probably today. I just have to find the right opportunity. I haven't had a chance to look at it. So anyways, feel free to check out that link. It's in the description. BTCC. It's also in the chat if you guys are interested. But we were kind of looking at Stellar. Is 100K Stellar good? I feel like yes. You have a lot of potential above where it currently stands. The full market cap where it stands is about a $13 billion market cap. We've seen higher prices of $80 price point, a $90+ price point as well. We should see a lot more as time goes on, especially as altcoin season, as XRP makes huge moves. You will also see XLM that makes some of these moves as well. Should honestly be up to, I would say, a $19 billion market cap based on the comparison or the flow between the two. Typically you see it about 10% of what XRP is at, but obviously you're going to see that start to split up as people decide whether they should be heavier on XLM or heavier on XRP. So yeah, I still think there's a decent amount of potential, and a lot of people are telling me, hey, you should have XLM, and I would have bought it down here, but I think I was already still trying to figure out what my max level was going to be for XRP and how much I held. So that's kind of where I stood there, and I would have bought, but it already skyrocketed, obviously, the same time you saw XRP make those moves. So yeah, it is what it is. If it finds a way, somehow, I probably should have bought some right here, but again, I was stating that I was done buying crypto at those points. So even though I think I'm still buying in leverage form. Where the market currently stands, the market currently stands currently stands at a $3.83 trillion market cap. Bitcoin's dominance is increasing a little bit more. It's at 61% instead of 60%, and also instead of the 59% that it was at prior to that. But Ethereum's still trying to fight at that 12% mark for a dominance, which is great. We are currently back sliding down 33 out of 100 when it comes to altcoin season. Fear and greed index is still pretty high, relatively high. It's at a 63. Bitcoin is at $117,000 per coin. Ethereum at $3,700. XRP at $3.04. You can see BNB is at about the $800 price point. Solana has retraced from the $200 price point to now $177. You can see Cardano that's at 75 cents, down by 5%. A lot of things that are down that are sliding today. It's not really great to see, but it also is at the same time, because you need to see these things, right? The market is full of positivity and negativity, right? You're going to have that positive swing, and then you're going to have a retracement from that swing. And that's just how that goes. If you don't see that, or you think that the market's going to go up 100% of the time or down 100% of the time, you are sadly mistaken. There are people that are going to react at certain levels, at certain price points, at certain market caps, or based on any news that's going to happen. And sometimes it could be an overreaction to some news that when that news actually breaks, it absolutely pushes, which is a great you know, thing to look at here, right? You have negativity, a high amount of negativity, and then when news breaks, boom, skyrockets. You're over $4 trillion market cap. You see XRP at a $4 or $5 price. Like that's what we want to see. All these, where was I at? I'm way behind. I'm way behind on the chat. I'm trying to get into it. Let me see. Coinbase asking for a Face ID again. It's a joke. Face ID is a joke. XLM. Uh, when these assets peaking scammers will be watching these to see who's holding what. Yeah, that's very true. Scammers are always watching. They're always watching, and they're always ready to pounce on any situation. If you show something you're not supposed to show, if you're talking about something or give out your information that you're not supposed to give out, like that's the type of thing that they're looking for all the time, especially in some popular live streams. I wouldn't say mine is a popular live stream, but as you see more and more people come in, there's a high chance that you may have someone that's looking to take right from everybody. I've already set my stop loss. My stop loss. Right now, I'm liquidated at 7. Or you're liquidated at 276. $10 XRP would be excellent. It would be fantastic. Greetings from Thailand. Thank you for watching. Target price for XRP. My target price overall. So I talked about it yesterday and how my reality is $100, but my first selling point is just $5, which to some people is just wild because they're like, why would you do that? Basically giving away 50 or however much thousand, giving away 10,000, 20,000 at a lower price compared to what the ultimate price is and compared to even what the middle ground prices are. Why would you do that? And obviously, I just like to establish that I collect my initial investment. Right? I love collecting my initial investment and leaving the rest that's in there. I don't care where it is. Right now, I could do that, but I still feel like that's a little too early. $5 is honestly still early, but I want to see that level, and I know it's going to be a little bit of a resistance from that level. So I'm hopeful. What would happen is the $5 mark would hit, and we would see a retracement back down to 3, which means that I could potentially find a larger leverage trade from that level and do maybe a 2x, 3x, or 5x leverage from that point just to be able to consistently gain. I will do that regardless, but also it'll give me the freedom to kind of invest a decent amount rather than a lower amount. So we'll see how that works. But I want to be able to collect my initial investment plus a little bit of profit so that I can say this goes over here to the side, and every year I'm kind of collecting from XRP in a way. You know what I mean? That's my thought process. So it's not necessarily saying that at $5 I'm selling everything. No, it's like 25% of my portfolio, leaving 75% for future levels. Why is XRP dumping? Honestly, XRP is falling less than a lot of things in the market. XRP is not dumping. It's down by 2.78%, while you see BNB down by 5%, Solana 3%, 5% for Dogecoin, 5% for Cardano, 6% for Hype. You're seeing the other things in the market react a little bit stronger than the way XRP is falling. So I don't think it's dumping. I just think it's decreasing. Now, if you were looking at this in the stock market, if anything was decreasing, if the entire market was decreasing by 7%, that would be a crash, right? And seeing the market is down by about 1.67. I'm dyslexic. 1.67. It's not necessarily a crash or a heavy fall or anything like that. We're just seeing things that are decreasing, which is fine, right? It increased to $3.60. It makes sense for it to come back down. It really does. XRP dumping like a rock? No, it's not. $1.50. That would be amazing if it was. This is why you don't buy hype when a coin is still in court. What? Dump before the uh, dump before the what is that? Dump before the ump? A dump before the pump. Is that what you're saying? Um, we will see how dovish the Fed is today after. Are you trying to say bullish or bearish? Dovish? What is that? The Fed is today after pausing interest rates again. I think once interest rates drop, the floodgates will open. Larson dumped more XRP today. This is okay. What is the good news today for XRP? There's no news right now. I only hold 43K XRP with an average cost of $1.70. I think I'm in for the long run. I want to get to $24, then take out my stake, leave the rest until I get to 55 to retire in 2030. I mean, it's always great to have a plan, um, but and not this on a negative side, but more on a positive side. What did Mike Tyson say? Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. So everybody has a plan where you see that plan until it gets to a level of, $10 and you're like, this looks pretty damn good. You know what I mean? And then you're like, all right, well, I should probably take out my initial investment. Then it changes a little bit, which is fine, right? I feel like if you change it to for maybe the better to where you can not necessarily accept your initial investment super early, like I am with $5, but accept that at maybe $10 so you can get that earlier because you never know, right? It all depends because you can say that these things are going to happen, but that punch in the face could be the bear market, right? The bear market could happen, before you hit that level of $24. And if that's the case, where the bear market is about to happen before you hit $24 and it starts decreasing, well, now your plan kind of went out the window. It's like, what do I do? Do I save face and try and take my initial investment and maybe a little bit of profit and then wait out the bear market? Or do I hold on to everything and just wait out the bear market the way that it is? Because if you do it the opposite way, it's a way of timing the market while still having time in the market, if that makes sense. That's the way that I look at it, right? I want to make sure that I have a certain amount that I kind of take from there before the bear market hits, so that when it does happen, when the bear market takes place, maybe it's only a 50% drop, or maybe it's even less, a 40% drop, depending on the adoption, the acceptance, the ETFs, and the traditionalists investing into the market. We are going to see less of a drop, but then how far does XRP fall? How far does everything else fall? Do I now have enough money to invest in other opportunities? And that's kind of what I want to be able to gain from it. It gives you the opportunity to buy a lot of other plays that are up and coming, right? What makes you think it'll go to $55? I think it'll go to $100. Give me a second. Let me check something. Blah, blah, blah. I wish this was. You know what? I'm gonna download it and turn it sideways because this is a problem. Give me a second, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. And also hit that subscribe button. Again, we got 276 people that are here. If you guys want to check out my link for BTCC and get started leverage trading, feel free to do so. You can get a 40%, lower trading fees. You can get a 10% deposit bonus. You can get up to $10,055 worth of bonuses, up to, right? You can also trade up to 300 plus crypto futures. So, and I've been able to profit decently from this. Again, these are just some small profits, well, large profits, but smaller initial investments. And I plan on increasing the size of those investments as time goes on, but I have to hit retracement points to be able to do that. And I'm trying to find maybe one right play, one really, really good play that I can put money into a larger amount at a 2x leverage and hopefully not see it decrease by that much, right? And I think that play is going to be ADA, that I put $1,000 at a 2x leverage and see that kind of flourish. That would be amazing. But feel free to check it out. Link is in the chat, and it's in the description. September 8th. Let me see what I have going on. I mean, I'm game. I'm game for it.
Virginiaman donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Matt, what's your thoughts on KETA? I got in around 0.15 cents.
It starts.
I took some profit. I'm thinking about swapping into another play.
Let's see. I don't know what that is, but we'll check it out. Thank you for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. I wish I had the audio or the desktop audio on so maybe everybody could hear it, but I'm not sure if you did because the mic tends to pick up everything. But let's look at, you said KETA. You got in at what price? You got it at 15 cents, and it currently is at $1.10 at a $450 million market cap, $18 million worth of volume, which is a 4% volume to market cap ratio. Today, obviously, things are going to be structured a little bit differently because of the fact that the market is kind of falling down. But what are my thoughts on it? I have no idea what it is. This is the first time actually seeing it. But the one thing that I would like to point out, you made a ton of profits from this, from getting in at 15 cents. You made a ton of profits off of this play. And I want to point out that the reason why you made a ton of profits is because it was a lower market cap play. It was on the maybe third page, possibly the fourth page. I'm trying to look at the supply really quick, but it was probably on the third or fourth page, and you made a ton of money because of the fact that you invested into something that had potential. I don't know the reasons as to why you invested into it. Maybe it was because it was a low play and looked like it had potential based on the volume and all of that. Or maybe it was because it just spoke to you about what it actually was and what it did. So it serves as a common ground for diverse payment networks, facilitating direct interactions across multiple blockchains as native tokenization and rule engines allow participants to create and manage digital or real-world assets with a comprehensive control and compliance integrated directly into the protocol by enabling trusted KYC providers to ensure digital certificates for user accounts. KETA ensures regulatory compliance and digital identity verification while maintaining privacy and high security standards with a performance a capacity of 10 million transactions per second, settlement time as low as 400 milliseconds. 400 milliseconds. KETA is poised to revolutionize the blockchain landscape and offering unprecedented performance and utility. I mean, that definitely would speak to me. Obviously, looking at the amount of transactions per second, doing 10 million transactions per second, that's something that really would speak to anyone. And that's what we call, obviously innovation, creating or looking at the solutions and looking at how you can see more and more when it comes to just standard transactions. Obviously, it doesn't need to be ridiculously fast where it's 10 million transactions per second, but that is a huge selling point. Either way, I don't know what everybody is saying about this and what's the main reason to why you decided to purchase it, but it looks like it has great bones, and that's probably why you saw those gains. honestly, the places where you can gain the most, and I want you guys to explore this, the places where you can gain the most is if you go over to CoinMarketCap and you say, all right, I want to find a great play. You can look at these as more like longer term plays, the top 100 as longer term plays. Maybe some of them like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu and some meme coins you would have to look at as a price level or a market cap level rather than just like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to grow significantly over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, because meme coins are meant for people to make money. And that's pretty much it. It's not about what it's going to do. However, you can find some things of like what it's going to do if you're looking in the top 500 and you scroll all the way down and you're like, I want to find waves. What is waves and why is it at 313 and why is it seeing a significant or $18 million worth of volume, which would be over the 10% threshold of volume to market cap ratio, meaning that it has a little bit of popularity. What is waves? Does it have a max supply? Are we seeing that it's doing anything to improve the world or improve a concept, right? So that's kind of what I would encourage you guys to do is find a lower market cap play that has the bones and the structure of a top 10, a top 25, a top 50 play. It just depends on the volume that comes in. It depends on what they're going to do. I've done that, and I did it with Jasmy Coin. Jasmy Coin ran to a top 100 cryptocurrency worth multiple billions of dollars. Obviously, now it's less than $1 billion, I believe, but still has those good bones to grow to a top 25 cryptocurrency out there. So we will see, but that's definitely interesting. Should you throw money into another play? I mean, if you took profits, I would find what I typically do is I'll find something that has more consistency, something that I can invest into for the long term and know that it's going to have a great structure to it. Honestly, what you were invested into could have a long-term impact to it. I don't know if you took all profits, but I would have kept some in there because it did look like it had some decent potential just based on the small amount of research that I did. Now, if you've done more extensive research and it told you something differently, then obviously you want to take that into account. But I do recommend that you go outside the top 100, find some plays that have utility, that have potential, that are not going to self dilute, that are not going to dilute the position, and just find a good play for you. But yeah, I really like doing that, going outside the top 100. I haven't really invested a lot outside the top 100 lately, and I need to do that more. So when I find, I would say somewhere around now would be one of the better times to do it because you're not seeing altcoin season truly happen. You're seeing some bigger altcoins that are moving, but not the lower end altcoins that can potentially move hundreds or thousands or even tens of thousands of percent. XDC will flip XRP. I don't think that's true. XRP $4.75. Okay. X is Roman 10. Say it. Say 10. I'm ready for the wealth transfer. Hi, should we buy Caspa at this level? I have Caspa at a lower level. I want to say, let me go to, give me a second. I'm so hungry. Let me go to Kraken really quick. um, I don't know. You know what? I don't even know what I have it at. I don't want to have to log in. It logs me out, and it keeps logging me out, and I'm tired of that. When the Fed meeting released interest rate decision on Wednesday, the narrative is almost certain to look a lot like June, with a little change in statement and officials again holding off on any cuts. However, several fascinating subplots will be in play. Ultimately, through the committee is likely to stand pat, putting the distractions on the side of the decision over a cut off to December. Considering nothing is likely to happen when it comes to the majority of decisions this week, the Federal Reserve meeting is packed with intrigue. When the the Federal Market Open Committee releases its interest rate decision Wednesday afternoon, the narrative almost certain to look a lot like June. However, there are several fascinating subplots that will consider, or you can consider. Two Fed governors, okay, Christopher Waller, Michelle Bowman. There were potential no votes, keeping the Fed funds rate locked at 4.25% to 4.5%. If so, for the first time, multiple governors have ascended since late 1993. Both have advocated for rate cuts. Waller stands as a long shot replacement for Chair Jerome Powell next year, makes his vote even more significant. This will be the first meeting since President Donald Trump's historic visit to a Fed construction site. Okay, the Fed has plenty of inflation impact. So ultimately, through the committee, we're not. I mean, are we going to see any type of positive crypto news out of this? I feel like we're not. What's the expectation for crypto news out of this, out of the meeting? No consensus for easing. You know what's crazy? So well, I don't know if it's crazy, but I think it was like a year ago that I bought my Tesla Model 3, and I was choosing between that and a Cybertruck. Honestly, I really do like the Cybertruck, and Harper calls it triangles. She's like, are you gonna get triangles? And every time she sees it, she's like, look, Dad, triangles. I'm like, because it's just made of triangles. Anyways, and sharp corners. Anyways, I ultimately chose the Model 3, and I think I made a wrong decision. Not between that and the Cybertruck. Honestly, I should have got a Model S. I feel like the Model S has more of what I wanted trunk space wise, and I was just settling for that. For some reason, the reason I was choosing between those two, and I was like, I don't need the trunk space with the Cybertruck, and I was like, I would be good with this, but I found myself putting a lot of stuff inside the car because I couldn't fit it in the trunk hole. Even though the trunk is spacious, it's just like it height wise, it's in the way. So the Model S actually lifts up the window, and you have more space to be able to put things in, and I can also fold the seats down. So I was just, I don't know, I was compromising, and now want to kind of switch. And this is a year later, which means that my EV has lost value. So I don't know. It's just, I've been going back and forth in whether I should, because I own my Tesla. So it means that I don't have a car payment. But if I decide to move to the Model S, obviously I would have a car payment there, or I could just buy it out. But then you're buying a depreciating asset um, outright. So I don't know. I'm stuck between what I should do. I'm tired and I'm hungry because now I already pre-ordered the S, but I missed the cutoff for the interest rate. They had a deal where you have 0 APR for June 30th, and I missed the cutoff with that. My brother just asked me, he was like, "Hey, would you let me know? Would you let me know when XRP drops below $2?" And I was like, and he was like, "It already did it twice this year." And I was like, "Well, you're following it right, and it's great to be able to have a price set, but honestly, I don't think that's going to happen, right? That it's going to drop below $2. If it does, that is a huge opportunity for a lot of people to load up on XRP there, especially leverage trading wise. If I find that's going to drop down to lower levels, right? Let me go to BTCC to see the chart. If I find that XRP is dropping to lower levels, like super lower levels, getting down to below $2 and getting down to this point here, like a really low, then I am going to load up. I'm going to put a thousand, maybe I might even put like $5,000 in a 2x leverage just because I don't believe it's going to go lower than that, right? I don't believe it's going to get down to, it would have to drop down below $1 in order to see my position get liquidated. And then, yeah, I would just do a multiple, maybe it might even be a 3x leverage at that point. And I might have to, like, either I would do that or I would be like, I would put $100 at a whatever the max leverage is for XRP. So the max leverage that I could do for XRP, it looks like is 500. So I would probably, if it got down or looked like it was getting down to that point, I would definitely do a $100 500x leverage. And if I decided to do that, like I think it would end up benefiting in the long run and be able to gain a ton out of that. 500x leverage, we're looking at about $50,000 that we're technically investing with, but only risking 100 at the lowest point. And then as you see that grow, right, that's $50,000 at a $1.90 price point. Let me get a calculator. Give me a second. I probably can do, it's probably gonna be somewhere around 25,000, 50,000 at a times 1.9 is sorry, I don't know why I said it would cut in half. It actually would increase. 95,000 XRP is what I would gain, and seeing that at a level of $10, or let's say that just grows back from $1 up to $4 or $5, right? So 95,000 times 5, you're looking at $475,000 that I can gain from potentially a $1 investment, or sorry, a $100 investment. If that found a way to come down to that point, right, where he was like, that's the case, I'm throwing $100 at a 500x leverage. And if it seems to drop lower, I'm going to find the next lowest point, and I'm putting $100 at a 500x leverage until it gets to the lowest point that it can get to, which essentially should be this strong support level, right? 160. If it does, I'm throwing $100 at a 500x leverage. If it's down to this point, it might be $200 at a 500x leverage. But either way, I'm throwing it at the highest leverage I could possibly do it and try and make sure that I find some major success in that. But I don't believe that that's going to happen. I don't believe that we're going to see a drop below $2 again. I think that even in the bear market, we're going to see this bull market push XRP's price up to 10 plus, maybe even 20 or further than that, right? So we're talking about a 50% retracement from those points. So I don't think it'll touch those levels ever again. I do think we are in need of a continuation of this retracement down to about $2.65. Maybe a little bit of a stronger point. I'm trying to find to see if there's anything stronger, which I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't really see anything. I feel like $2.60 is definitely a very strong point to bounce off of that level and then see it pick up. But I don't see it dropping down to $1.90. But again, if it does, my leverage trade is going to be insane. You're going to be like, what are you doing? Why are you taking that much money and putting it on XRP at a 500x leverage? That's a lot of money. Again, it could be a little bit of money that you're risking, but a lot of potential for risking that money. It's definitely in that mindset. What I would do there is definitely more of a gambling mindset. While I'm also using a lot of information from the chart, from the position itself, I still feel like you're trying to get the max level or risk the most in order to gain the most. So high risk, hopefully high reward. Because if that's the case, where I can find a way to gain $470,000 from just the leverage trading side of it, then everything that I'm holding outright stays. I wouldn't take 25% of that because I took $400,000 or $500,000 here, which essentially I would end up paying taxes. Let's say it's half, and round up to 500. It would be $250,000 taxes. Boom. I collected $250,000, and now I can put that wherever I want to, just like I was going to in my, main position. So that's why I like leverage trading. You can risk a little bit and make a lot. I risked $100 here, $112 here, and I made $761. Know that I've already profited my initial investment plus profit. I took, let me go back to trade history. So I lost on this BOEM trade, but I'm trying to find, I don't know why it's not giving me all of my trade history. Give me a second. Let me go into more. Let me see if I can bring all of it up. It's only, for what time period is this giving me? Trade history, pending order trade history. It's not giving me all. Oh, it's just giving me from July 30th to July 30th. That's dumb. I don't want to do that. I want to do, oh, you know what? Let me do July to July. Let me see if it comes up with all my trades. I guess it's not doing it. I put, what? Why is it doing 2024? I don't want 2024. I want 20. It's still only giving me, it only gives me a 1 month look. Or maybe it's not giving me, it doesn't need to give me a 1 month look. I can select it that way. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to figure stuff out here. January 1st, all the way to, where are we at? Or July 30th. Now search. Let's see if it'll give me some trade history here. Even if you 3x leverage. Yeah, I mean, that's only 33%. Like if it drops 33%, you would lose your entire investment. But at those levels, when it drops that far, like say if you have, liquidations that are going through, millions upon millions or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of liquidations, $1 billion worth of liquidations. Now you have the market at a very, very low point. And if it is at a low point, you're finding everything's at that low point, meaning that you have to find the bottom. Once you find the bottom, you can invest aggressively. And I've done it plenty of times. That's how I've made money with all of my 500x leverage trades. The market crashed. Ethereum came down. I decided to throw a 500x leverage on Ethereum at a $1,200 price point. It picked up. Ended up pumping really, really quick. I made money within 5 minutes. I made $200 or $300 as it started to pick up. And we're talking about a 500x leverage with a $20 price point. I invested $20 and made $300. So like that's what you can do with leverage trading. It's just you have to know what are the right times to do it and what you should risk in those moments. It doesn't look like it's bringing me up my history, but I made money from my Ethereum trades. From my 10x leverage trades, I took profit on all of those. And I can't seem to, they won't let me bring them up, which is dumb. But on these 10x leverage trades, Ethereum, Caspa, AVAX, I took profit on all three of these, and I'm up, hundreds of percent still. 500x, which platform? So this is BTCC. This is a platform that I've been using for almost a year now, and it's been nothing but kind to me. I went from a $500 $500 portfolio to now at a $3,200 portfolio. And that's being pretty conservative with 2x leverages and 3x leverages. But then I have a couple of 10x leverages here. But I did throw a 20x leverage that I got liquidated on as the market came down, but that was for $100. This is BTCC. If you use my link in the chat, you can get a 10% deposit bonus, as well as extra bonuses up to $10,055, 40% lower trading fees, and you can trade up to a 500x leverage. Now, I want you to be sure about what you guys are doing. If you don't know how to leverage trade, make sure you educate yourself. And the most important thing that you can do is be disciplined. If you notice from my leverage trades that I have here, every single one of them, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, you see that number 1 right here at stop loss? Every single one of these has a stop loss. And the reason why they have a stop loss is because I want to make sure that if everything fails and it starts to really, really drop, then I know that I'm only losing what I put in. So make sure you set a stop loss and make sure you set the right percentage. If you're sitting at a $412 amount that you put in there, which I'm glad, again, I did a 3x leverage rather than a like 10x leverage or anything like that. And that's the reason why I do that with a high amount, but with a low leverage. I always set a stop loss. I always have one where my trigger price will be $7.67, right? Don't believe it's going to go that low. However, anything could happen. And if it does, I want to make sure that I live to fight another day, right? I'm going to lose what I put in there, but I still have the rest of my account in order to trade with. Make sure that you're being disciplined. Guys, we have 233 people here. If you guys could hit the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. It looks like we have 200 likes, which is fantastic. But I would love if you guys continue to hit the like button. Anybody that hasn't, please do so. It does help out the channel. Keep the hold and buy dips. It's accumulation period. Sorry for my English. Greetings from Barcelona. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you for the advice as well. Lizardman is out to liquidate everyone. Better close. No, I have a good level on where it is, and obviously with the gains that I've received in Ethereum and and Caspa and many others, I feel as though I'm far up for that, which always could go south. We could see it go south, but I've already made my profit on it, so I'm not upset with it. And I want to see a little bit more. I'm gonna use your link. Thank you. Well, thank you for saying that, and thank you for doing that, and hopefully you can find success in XRP and in many others that you invest into on that platform. What time is Pal talking? I think he already start talking? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know the actual time. Or did he already do it? Thought it was 8:30. Mm, 8:30. I guess is when the meeting starts. Uh, Tuesday. No, that's yesterday. What? Wait, what? No, that's not yesterday. Let's say 30th. Uh, OMC meeting, 2-day meeting, July 29th and 30th, press conference, 2 p.m. Selected interest rates, 4:15. Honestly, I don't know. What's Jerome Powell's salary? For asking. Have more faith in CRO and than any other altcoins except ETH. I like CRO, right? I've been a huge fan of CRO. I don't like the fact that they offered more of that supply or adding more of that supply, especially the amount that they burned. But you still have a lot of things that are going great for crypto.com and the things that they're doing, and they're implementing CRO within it, which means that we could essentially still see burns that are going to happen at the top level, which, or not necessarily burns, but um, it's just a decrease in the supply at the top level, meaning that if and when this gets to a $1 and $2 price point, as you have 100 billion coins that are there, that could decrease to 90 and 80 and 70 and 60, and just make it that much stronger as you see the dilution over time, or not dilution, as you see the decreasing of the supply deflationary aspect over time. Because technically, outside of just reintroduction of the coins, it has a deflationary aspect to it. You should close and get the money. Warren Buffett rule number one: never lose. Rule number two: follow rule number one. So I don't typically close it. What I do with my positions is I'll collect my initial investment. Right, for ETH, Caspa, and AVAX, I collected my initial investment plus profit. Right, plus like $200 of profit each one. Um, so no matter what, I am profitable on those. So if somehow that does come down and is worth less than $2,250, or Caspa comes down and is less than 6 cents, or AVAX comes down and is less than $16 or whatever, then yeah, right. Um, Obviously, it gets liquidated and I still end up being profitable in the end. But then I also have 2x leverages, right? Ones that, like a 2x leverage for Jasmy coin. Do I think it's going to come down to 0.75 or 75% of a penny? No, I don't think that's going to be the case, right? There's always a chance that it could. However, if it does, right, I have an opportunity to either decide to average into it at a 2x leverage or settle on that. And I feel like I would average into that 9 times out of 10. If that comes down to a 1 cent price, I would average into that with another $500, honestly, because I believe in Jasmy coin that much to where a 2x leverage is basically like you're kind of buying outright in a way. For auction and for compound, I'd probably do the same thing. See it come down a certain amount. If it looks like it's down 50%, that's there. I believe in those a lot further, and it is only a 2x leverage. If it was a 500x leverage, that would be different. Now, I want to put through some more 10x's and 20x's and all of that, but it all depends, right? If we see the market tumble, then that gives me opportunity to add more leverage trades in there. Don't leverage trade while sleeping. Man, I'm behind. In fact, discipline, all facts. Discipline and move your stop loss to break even ASAP. Should we buy Caspa at this level? Again, I think I already read that, but I think there's an opportunity there at 9 cents. You emotion trade already, it's going to get liquidated. I mean, yeah, you shouldn't really trade with emotion. You shouldn't trade to be like, oh, I need to recover this. Like if you lose a certain amount of money, you're like, oh, I need to recover that money. And you start trading and aggressively trading and not looking for strategies or your strategy or opportunity. You're trading with emotion. You're not trading with strategy. That's very true. Where do you think XRP will fall to after the bull run? I said this, and I think that this bear market won't be as aggressive as other bear markets. It may be like 50 or even less, 40%. So if we see it to a level of $10 or $20 for XRP, potentially, I think we'll see half that, right? A $10 price point, maybe even a little bit less, maybe a $12 price point. But I don't think the bear market will be that much of an impact compared to previous years. And the reason why is because of what we're seeing, the news that we're seeing. The Fed that's talking about it more, adoption, acceptance, ETFs, traditionalists that are coming in, right? People that are long-term investors that are looking to hold it rather than just to buy it. If we have an all-encompassing ETF that happens before the bear market happens, I think that's a clear indication that we will see consistent growth rather than the just a tumble of 2 years or something, right? We don't want to see the markets fall for 2 straight years and be at a flat for another year and then finally increase because Bitcoin's going to be seeing a halving, right? It will be a lot different. I think the halving will still have an impact, but I think it won't be as I don't think the bear market will be as impactful as it was in the past with like a 90% drop. It's been getting better every year, or not every year, but every cycle change. So we see it at 90%. We see it at 85%. We see it at 80 and 70% for the last one. I think it was 70 to 75%. But either way, you're seeing it at a lesser percentage. More people are interested. More people are investing for the long term. But we still didn't have those things established at those times. Now we have the ETFs. We have the Fed talking about it. We have reserve currencies that are being established. We have people that have them in different classifications and different groups. Ones that are really leading the market and holding those levels, like a Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Things are going to be worth trillions of dollars and stay worth trillions of dollars. Matt, did you stop trading stocks? No, I still have stocks. I can show you my dividend portfolio that I currently have. I just been doing more conservative trading. I still do have individual positions as well over on Webull about I would say $25,000 portfolio that's over there invested into things like MicroStrategy, into Tesla, into AMC. I still have 1,000 shares of AMC Might be 2,000 shares of AMC, but I still have a lot of AMC. I also have a lot of Coinbase. I believe in cryptocurrency, so I'm investing into the cryptocurrency company. And when Ripple becomes publicly traded, I'm going to also invest into them and throw a lot into that platform because that will be worth multiple trillions of dollars, I believe. Now, I don't know what the IPO will start at, but I'm very interested to see what that grows to. So, yes, I still trade stocks. This is my dividend portfolio now. I will have an update on my dividend portfolio no, not tomorrow, in the beginning of next month. So the first, I will have an update to my dividend portfolio. I typically do those updates over on my Matthew Perry 2 channel, basically my stock market channel where I talk about stocks, ETFs, different things I'm investing into there. But it's a very honestly a small part of my portfolio because crypto has grown to such a large part of my portfolio. Right? While crypto was about, when I look at it, when I talk about my retirement portfolio, my dividend portfolio, my my stock market portfolio, and my crypto portfolio, and any other investments that I have, crypto is a large part now of my overall assets, I would say. Um, while it was in the past only, I don't know, 1%, now it has grown to be maybe 30 or 40%, which is crazy because I didn't really do much, right? I didn't sit here and be like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw, you know, so much money on these plays. No, they just grew to those levels. That's what's interesting about cryptocurrency is that it's a it's a speculative, sector and market, which makes it more valuable and makes it grow a little bit more. uh, I used to have a huge bag of SHIB, 500 million. I sold it for CRO, and I'm all in on CRO. Well, that's good. I think CRO has more long-standing potential. I think Shiba Inu, I talked about it yesterday. The the thought process of Shiba Inu to a dollar was, and the mindset, the feeling, the actuality of that happening, um, that was all torn down by the SHIB ecosystem dev team and everything they did. They had so many chances to create different products and services and cryptocurrencies and many different things that could burn, essentially help out Shiba Inu. And they never did that. Even though they said they were all for it and that they were the ecosystem dev team and that they think that anything that's created outside of what they create is a scam, they helped out none of the Shiba Inu community. We helped them out so much because we padded their pockets, lined their pockets with cash, because they decided to make Bone. They made Leash. They made the metaverse lands, which they didn't really put a lot of effort into at all. And they just collected a lot of money from the sale of those lands. They sold NFTs multiple times. He came on, or they had an announcement to basically sell something that was essentially an NFT, and just to make more money, right? They had Shibarium, and once they realized they were going to burn Shiba Inu, once they realized they were losing money from Bone, because that money was coming out of Bone and it was being, kind of exchanged for Shiba Inu, which essentially was putting more Bone back on the market. They were just like, you know what? I'm not doing that. We're gonna stop doing that. They didn't announce that they were gonna stop. They just stopped. They had so many chances. So I still hold SHIB. I have a lot of high hopes for SHIB, and I think it's going to succeed because they don't change that outcome now, but they definitely changed our thought process on it because we thought we would see burns. And we were going to. We were already seeing burns with the different companies that were created, but they called them all a scam, and everybody believed them. They spoke the loudest, and we only heard them, I guess. And when I say we, I mean most of the community. I didn't. I saw that they were not about that life from the beginning, right? That they didn't care about Shiba Inu from the beginning. I literally called it out in an AMA that they had. They had in Ask Me Anything, and I said to them, why, if you guys draw a chart with Shiba Inu in the middle and all the things that you've created, it looks like the Shiba Inu community, it looks like you benefit a lot from the Shiba Inu community. However, what has any of these projects done for SHIB? Where's the benefit for Bone to SHIB, or Lease to SHIB, or Metaverse Lands to SHIB, or Shibarium to SHIB? Where is the help towards this main project that we all care about, that you say that you're building around to help the growth of? And their response was, when you see these things grow and gain more of a following and grow in market cap and grow in size, that's what will eventually help SHIB, because now those people that are a part of that will then move over to SHIB. That was their response, even though all of their audience, all of their profits, all of their money that came from there came from Shiba Inu. Not from outside sources to come into the Shiba Inu community. It was from SHIB themselves. And it pushed out. But then nothing went back. That was the problem. That was the main problem. And I called it out from the beginning. And, I may have gotten some heat for it, because I was being harsh with them. I was being kind of rude. And for good reason, right? I wasn't saying like you guys suck or anything like that. I wasn't attacking their character. I was just saying, what are you guys doing for the position that we all know and love? We're talking about Shiba Inu to a penny, Shiba Inu to $1, and you're over here talking about Bone getting to these levels and everything, and we're talking about burns and decreasing the supply, and then you're saying you don't even want to do burns. Like, why are we looking at them as the saviors when they're telling us right from the start, we don't even like burns, we don't want to do it? Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. That's when I found, bro, AMC Army. I still hold AMC. I have 1,000 AMC shares. I made I took my initial investment of $16,000 out of that to start my crypto journey, honestly. And I'm glad I did, because if I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be where I am here today, making as much money as I am from crypto in general. But then also still having 1,000 AMC shares, like I said I would. Like I love movies, and I'm going to invest in AMC and believe in AMC. So yeah, still have it. 18K invested, with 13K of that being XRP for this run. Oh wait. I had that cut off. What would you do? What would your opinion be on a return rate for 18K invested, with 13K of that being XRP? What would your return rate be? Well, it depends what you want out of it, right? If you're comfortable seeing some of these higher prices, let's say your balance gets to $200,000, does that make you feel some type of way to where you're like, I have to take from that? And would you take your initial investment, or would you take more? And for most people, they would probably take more. There's a lot of people that will probably take half of it and be like, look, I'm good with $100,000. I could do so much with it. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But that means that you're not going to be able to gain like as much for the future, but you still set yourself up in a good spot in the present. Because let's be honest, making $1 million would be fantastic. And over a long term, you would pay less taxes, but making $1 million would be fantastic. But let's say that right now you have $200,000 or you have $100,000 in debt in total, right? You talk about your house that's left over, your car, you have credit card bills or whatever. If you have $100,000 that you can take from there and go, I'm going to go ahead and pay off these debts and everything, it makes your life significantly easier to now invest into other things and believe in other things and do your research, because you don't have to worry about paying this bill, this student loan, or this car loan. It's off the table. And that's only if you keep that same mindset to go, I don't want any newer bills. I want what I have to pay in my bills, and I don't want any loans. And now I have so much more free money to invest with, to put aside for our future. It makes it a better living situation, right? Livable situation. So in some cases, it may be right to take 25 or 50% of what you have early. However, if it's not the case and you're like, I have this much invested and I just want to establish a great plan, you may be able to wait it out a little bit longer. So I don't necessarily have a plan for you. It really does depend on your situation. But if it were me, I have a certain amount that's sitting in my forever wallet that I plan on just keeping forever, right? And I don't plan on doing anything with it. Now, I'm saying I don't plan on doing anything with it. I'm not saying I won't do anything with it, because if somehow this does get to a $10,000 price point, that will no longer be the amount that's over there, because then I don't need that much to be able to use XRP. I can then put it into something else that's another sector, maybe real estate or something else. And but again, that's my plan. Everybody's plan, everybody's situation is different. History repeating itself. People said the same thing about Bitcoin for years, and now look. Let people hate and eat their words. Yeah. And one thing you don't understand about XRP is, even though it's a low rate of burning, XRP is naturally deflationary. Even though, you're offering all of the supply, and when you get to that 99.98 billion coins, that's the total supply. As you have a ton of transactions, you'll see burns that happen and burn off a lot more. And as you have that scaling, I think they said that it can scale to, instead of the 1,500, it can scale to a lot further, but not to the like 10 million transactions per second, like the one thing that we looked at, the key to position that we looked at, which still does sound interesting. I got to be honest. It's just not on a platform, or any platform that I could purchase it, at least at first glance. But it has a natural deflationary aspect to it, meaning that it will burn the supply, even though it's a very low amount that it burns with every transaction that it does. It's still deflationary at heart. And who's to say that we won't see more of a deflationary act in the future? It could be to where we see a lot that's held in a reserve, or multiple reserves for different governments, and that supply will never be introduced. That could be the case as well. So much great global utility coins, and people still crazy over Shiba. I mean, it's about the hype, right? Like I've said before, if you have popularity without utility, you can still have a successful project, majorly successful in cryptocurrency as of today, right? However, if you have the best utility in the world, you feel like you can do 10 million transactions per second, but you don't have the popularity. People aren't talking about it. Don't have word of mouth or anything like that. You're not going to go anywhere. The same is for anything, honestly. I've seen businesses, like I've seen restaurants that have had amazing food, and I'm like, this is a gem, and nobody's talking about this. And the reason why is because they're not getting the word out. Word of mouth is everything. You can have the most amazing food in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're going to go out of business. I had that experience with a place 2 years ago in Delaware. It was a Southern style breakfast place, and they had things like shrimp and grits. They had, chicken and waffles. They had Belgian waffles. They had a lot of different things that honestly was amazing. And come to find out, this past month that I went to Delaware, we went to the same place, and now it's a bagel spot. Now it's like one of the popular bagel chains that they have there. I don't know what it's called. I forgot. We ended up getting a bagel from there because we expected something different, but then Erica was like, she likes bagels anyways, and we got some good stuff from there. But the point is, they didn't have the popularity, they didn't have the word of mouth, and I talked to them about it. I was like, why is this place not like packed? It's breakfast time and it's not packed right now. And they were like, well, we just anybody that comes here, they do love the food. We just don't have a lot of people that come here. And I was like, you guys need marketing. You like, I can't do it for you, but you need marketing. You need to get the word out because the food is amazing. Same thing goes for crypto. The product can be absolutely fantastic, but if you have no popularity, it's not going anywhere. Now, XRP obviously has gone somewhere and it has that popularity, has the utility, and does marry the two. But Shiba Inu just has popularity, and it's going to continue to grow until it gets to a point where it's not profitable anymore to buy it. When it gets to maybe a higher price of multiple billions of dollars, some people might see that opportunity, but others that bought way earlier are like, that's the end of it. I'm out of it. Right? Real talk on SHIB take. They could have ran with the burn theme and they dropped it. Burning is literally what made SHIB unique and brought it to its peak. A damn shame. Very, very true. I was always shocked as to why they didn't want to go with that narrative. Why they didn't want to push everything to burn Shiba Inu. Because they didn't have to do all of these things in order to pad their pockets. They could have done these things and had a burn implementation into Shiba Inu. And then all that supply comes off the board for SHIB. The only reason is because they had no money invested in SHIB. They had everything invested into everything else around it. So they wanted to bring the SHIB community to them and not build up the SHIB community. They wanted Bone and Leash to be more popular than SHIB. They wanted the metaverse lands to be more popular than SHIB. That's why they really didn't want to use SHIB's name in anything. They did use SHIB the metaverse because that's something that would have sold more popularity to it. And it would have taken over the name of Shiba Inu, the coin. Because even in the metaverse, they were looking to use other things, not SHIB. So nothing about SHIB was supposed to be used. They were looking to turn it into whatever they built and not this phenomenon of what it was. They were trying to take the community. They were trying to steal the community, I would say. And it was unsuccessful. And if they would have leaned into burning Shiba Inu, one, the Shiba Inu community would have been wildly successful. We would have seen so many more people make money from Shiba Inu with the fact that this team is spending not spending their money, but spending part of what their gains would be to burn off this project, to burn off that supply, which would essentially increase the capability of getting to higher and higher prices. Then growing their own things to a massive extent because they are supporting SHIB in a large way. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. And the only reason is, again, because they were trying to suppress SHIB and build up their own thing. And they failed miserably. So it just sucks because it could have gone two ways and they picked the wrong way. Truck driving gave me isolated time to learn a lot from YouTube. Well, that's great. I really could start a whole YouTube channel on things I know and believe, but I don't have the time and energy truck driving. Everybody has the time and energy. I tell people this all the time. It doesn't take as much effort if you start to streamline things. In the beginning, it takes a little bit more effort because you got to get comfortable on camera. Live streaming helps you get very comfortable because you're talking to people live, right? Not necessarily talking to like a group of people, but honestly, if we had 200 people in a room right now and I was just talking to you guys, I'm not a public speaker. I would be insanely nervous, right? I look at people's faces and I judge their faces and I'm like, all right, you're not feeling it. You're feeling it, but you also want more of an explanation. This person over here is not paying attention at all. So I think that's they're just listening, not using their eyes. They're not using all their senses. But the point is, there 200 people were in this room. Like it would be completely different than the way that I hold myself now. But I've been able to learn and figure out how to talk and speak in front of a camera, speak to the camera, speak away from the camera, um, and just navigate YouTube. It's not as difficult as you think. Once you streamline things, if I know my subject of a video and I have everything laid out, it will take me about 10 minutes to record the video. It'll take me, um, it could be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to create a thumbnail. And then I just upload it. And the speeds of Fiber now, I upload it and it's pretty much done by the time I look back. Like I can upload it over here, look over here, and then look back and it's done uploading. Um, so it's not as time consuming as people think. I think again in the beginning, you have to realize what you're going to talk about and maybe create some scripts and everything. But once you get up to a point where you are insanely comfortable with the topic at hand in whatever questions anybody's going to ask you, that's why live streaming helps. Um, you don't necessarily need a full script. You need kind of just structure, maybe a little outline, and then you're good to go. And you could just speak without any cuts. Or you can be one of the people that actually puts a ton of effort into editing and showing the visual side of it rather than just the audio side of it, which is what I typically do. But you could truck driving I'm going to start a forever wallet aside from my cold storage. It's always good to have that. Because if you have, and start a forever wallet with things that are actually going to survive forever. Like you don't want to start a forever wallet with just meme coins. Now, if you want some meme coins in there, it's great to throw a little bit of money in there just to see what it could be in the next 5 years. But meme coins have a window. Most of them have a window. And it's all about how much you can gain in a quicker period of time versus a longer period of time. But if something has utility, it could be long standing, right? Things that are in my forever wallet have Ethereum at a price level of 1,500. So I have Ethereum that's in there. I have CRO that's in that wallet. I have Jasmy coin. I have XRP. I have what's that position? I have YFI, right? I have I'm trying to think. I have Cosmos. I have Solana. I have AVAX. I have ADA. So I have a lot of different things that are in my forever wallet that have utility and have long-standing growth potential, right? Rather than just putting like Pepe and Shiba Inu in there and Dogecoin. While all of those could see long-standing growth, and they will because they are the OGs or big names. I wouldn't say just OGs in general because Pepe was actually created before or after Floki. So Floki was technically there, but again, you have Shiba Inu, you have Dogecoin that are pretty much those OGs that are going to be successful, wildly successful, and they'll stay successful. But depending where you invest, like if you invested $100 billion, there's a chance that you might not be as wildly successful as somebody that invested at $1 billion or $4 billion, you know? Where do you think Jasmy can hit this run? Again, I'm looking for this year. I'm looking for 10 to 20. I honestly believe that we could see $1 to $1.50 this run. And depending on what happens to the supply, will dictate how far it drops, as well as what the potential can be for the future, right? Because if we see the supply get held off where it basically gets held and taken out of circulation, you now have less supply in circulation, meaning that you have a higher price that you can get to with the same market cap, if that makes sense to you. So I honestly believe $1 to $1.50 this bull run. That's what I'm looking for. This year, I'm hoping to see by the end of this year, I'm looking to see 10 to 20 cents for Jasmy coin. Would love to see a 20-cent price point. I think 10 cents is was my first selling point, but I'm not sure now because I have again some leverage trades that are in there. But that's the way that it's set now. Let me skip all the way down. I feel like there's so much that I missed because I'm always talking about Fed rates soon expect volatility, no cuts, 100%. Yeah, I try to do no. No cuts. Well, that was expected, right? Are we seeing some movement in the markets right now? Um, we don't essentially see any positivity, right? We have in the last hour, things are slightly down. I would say 1%. Some other things are down by 0.7%, but overall we're still down by 5%, 2% for or 2.5% for XRP, 2.5% for Ethereum, 1% for Bitcoin. I don't like seeing Bitcoin drop less than everything else. However, when you are transitioning into altcoin season, um, altcoins will have more of a reaction than Bitcoin does. Right? Bitcoin will see very slow movement, right? 1%, 0%. You'll see Ethereum up 5% or 10%, XRP up 10% or 20%, and many others that are up multiple double digit percentages, while Bitcoin is remaining flat or even falling. Have Trump's crypto holdings, which he was supposed to reveal today, already been disclosed? I didn't see anything. Also, probable have, well, probable have to learn to ignore the trolls. You're saying like for YouTube? Yeah, you definitely would have to ignore a lot of trolls, and I have very thick skin. I see some horrible things that people say about me, um, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't phase me at all. I'm I'm a person that really doesn't care about what anybody thinks. Honestly, I'm a introvert. I don't want to be accepted by everybody. I appreciate anybody that does love what I talk about. Um, but yeah, I'm not that type of person to where I'm like I care. I appreciate all the positive things that are being said, but when you say something that's negative, I may learn from it. So people have told me like I blink way too much, and I do, and I'm never gonna change that. That's just how I don't know when you're thinking, especially when you don't do any cuts. Like if I had a script that I was reading off of, I wouldn't blink as much, right? But I'm always thinking about the next thing that I need to say. So if you don't notice that, I do blink. Like there would be times where I'm like have 5 blinks in like a second. It seems like. So try and see if you notice that at some point. Um, but since I'm reading over here, I don't really blink as much. But either way, once I come back over here, blinking. Either way, Moon Boys exit now before it's too late. Why? Does the world really need another XRP channel? I don't know. I mean, it could always use, and honestly, I don't know if you're saying like I'm an XRP channel. I don't think that's the case. I talk about cryptocurrency, but anything that's popular at the moment. And XRP always seems to be, well, it's popular, very popular now. Um, and if Shiba Inu is the topic of conversation, we will talk about it and what people want to talk about. Every time, it's always about what people are kind of commenting, and if they're like, "Hey, what happened to Shiba Inu?" I'll put out a Shiba Inu video, and many people were asking about it, so I'll talk about it. If many people were like, hey, I want to see more content on Terra Luna Classic, well, here is where we stand with Terra Luna Classic. We don't have much to talk about, but here we go, right? And most of, if not all, the positions that I talk about, I'm invested into, right? So it's more of a crypto channel, but yeah, at times it seems like it becomes a certain type of channel, right? Where you're specifically talking about this project. And I've gone from position to position to position to position that have had massive amounts of videos about them, right? Where the first, I would say, like sector of videos was really about Dogecoin and my investment with Dogecoin, how much I made with Dogecoin, my transition from Dogecoin into this kind of like top tier projects, which Dogecoin became one of those. But then talking about Shiba Inu, kind of that next play that's going to make moves, and it did make moves, right? Then you move into, I talked about CRO quite a bit because I had CRO for the longest time, one of my first positions, and continued to buy into it. Now, still having over 400,000 CRO, and still believe in that. I still believe in crypto.com and the credit cards and all that stuff there as well. But then you transition into Jasmy Coin, right? Where I've invested a lot in the Jasmy Coin, XRP, Terra Luna Classic for a long period of time. And then XRP obviously is a big topic of conversation right now because it's a top 3 cryptocurrency. But again, I try and talk about the broader market. It just doesn't get as many views. Brad has 63% of the XRP supply. All I know is Ripple has a very large amount of the supply, right? Bro, you are dropping gems. I appreciate that. Were you talking to me or somebody else? Pal says he won't cut until the effects of the tariffs take place. In so many words, that's what it is. Get him out. Then we get cut sooner. Something fishy with the cow found. Whoops, typo. Sorry. How much XRP does Garlinghouse have? I don't know exactly how much he has, but I know when we talk about Ripple in general, Ripple has um, over 40% of XRP, and they offer that sparingly. Um, they do have that out there, and as they offer it, as they put it out for sale, they're able to make money off of that, right? Um, which some people may frown upon. I look at it as an opportunity for hopefully governments to establish a reserve and for them to give them that reserve. And I don't know what their full plan is with the entire rest of supply, as I know they were looking to release 1 billion a month, but that didn't look like that has happened, right? It looks like it's less than that's being introduced. Why did the CEO or the co-founder of XRP cash out of his XRP? I don't know. I believe USDT Black Swan happening before November. Crypto sending people home. Or just starting larger than billions. Okay. I think it out how powerful and crazy they would be if XRP were to bubble to 1K or 10K. A stablecoin XRP can't ever hit 1K in 2 lifetimes, buddy. We'll see. Um, where Matt, where I live, we would say you're very tough. Well, thank you. I I tough how? Like physically or like mentally? Um, They didn't get in at 15 cents. Is Luna Classic still going to pump? I still think we're going to see a lot of. Um, I still think we're going to see a lot of growth in Terra Luna Classic. Absolutely, I think there's a lot of potential. It's just again with any position that you buy, and I've seen this plenty of times, right? Many positions that you buy, there's so many outcomes and so many things that can happen, and the things that we want to happen, sometimes only a portion of those things actually happen. And seeing Binance burn, seeing the support for Terra Luna Classic, obviously those are big selling points. Obviously, being able to see um, uh, the FOMO that goes into Terra Luna Classic is large. Once it does kick off, it pushes like um, really hard to where it jumps up to way higher points, billions of dollars being invested into it. Um, we've seen it time and time again where it looks like it was dead and then all of a sudden, boom, it absolutely explodes. And we'll see that again in altcoin season. I think we will see it push. I think we will see it pump. Um, and I can't wait for that to happen. I still have 54 million. I already have taken profit on that in the beginning stages of kind of when it dropped down to the lowest price to making money up to the prices that it's at now. Um, so no matter what, I'm profitable, but I still want to see the success for many others, and it has more potential than just the popularity. That's what's interesting. So if the community can come together and say, I want to see Terra Luna Classic get back to what it once was, not only price wise, but also, um, utility wise, algorithm wise, repegging of USDT wise, right? I want to see the chain get back to where it was, but with more security. And if we can all come together with the plan to do that, which I think the best case scenario, two best case scenarios, is have exchanges assist with the burn based on the volume that happens on those platforms, um, and just take 1%, not even the fees, right? They can still collect their fees, but just 1% of it would be a tax on every single transaction on all platforms, right? With that, you would be able to burn down the supply. Then, when you get to a certain point, let's say right now we're at like five, right? 5 or 6 trillion. If we're at 5 or 6 trillion, if you get down to a point to where now you're at 500 or maybe even 1 trillion, you can now do a reverse split to give yourself, it would take some of your supply away. So if I have 54 million, maybe you take away 1 0 and it'll be, 5.4 million, meaning that it gives us the ability to get to um, a $100 billion market cap or something like that, and that would be the $1 price point. Then you see more burns that are associated there, and you see that you have a continued decrease in the supply, getting us to even higher prices of $2, $3, $4 price point as time goes on. So I think the best case scenario and the best plan would have been to find ways to burn off that supply, whether it's a large investor that wants to see it, that wants to see a large amount that burns, and the survival of Terra Luna Classic, or if it's just the community that comes together to do that. That's kind of what I wanted to see and what I believe we should see. Crafted some nice profits this season. I'm waiting for changes, and I'm thinking of taking profits in stable coins. Stable coins. Any ideas or approaches? Don't want to take it off the exchange. You think of making profit in the stable coins? I don't know how to do that. The only way that I know how to do that, obviously, if stable coins get up to $1.01, or go from 98 cents to $1.01, seeing 3 cents of a difference, or 3% of a difference every time. Um, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's tough. It's probably more consistent because you know that it's going to get back to those points. But I've never done that. I've heard of people doing it. I haven't seen people do it, so I don't know the structure of doing that. But for me, I just do it a little bit differently. I don't use stablecoins for my profits. I use regular coins, regular cryptocurrencies for my profits as I'm investing at good prices. But if you have a strategy and you feel like it can work, then test it out, right? Don't let anybody talk you out of that strategy. I'm not going to say that it won't work. I'm not going to say that it's a bad idea. You test out the strategy. If it works for you, then go about it. The dump later will be brutal. Yeah, I've been holding it for a bit. XRP um, isn't the all and be all, isn't the all and be all. I believe XRP has priced most people out already. To be honest, there's more intrinsic value in other utility assets at this point, short term, even long term, even long possibly. I mean, that's all opinion based. That's how I see it, and I respect it. Grok and Avalanche too. I like Grok. I like Avalanche. I have Grok. I wish I would have, you know, been able to have. I mean, right now I could buy more if I wanted to because it's only $2,000 for another million. um, which right now I'm down significantly on my Grok. AVAX I'm up on that play. I also have a leverage trade for AVAX, and that's going pretty well. Bro, this is a gem. No rate cuts. Today will go below $3. I would love to see it because again, I life is filled with opportunities, and when you find that the market is going to decrease down to maybe some support levels, that's an opportunity. It's just whether you're going to take advantage of that opportunity. Not to necessarily sell what you have, I wouldn't say that, but um, to maybe have some leverage trades in there. And if you guys are interested in reacting to the market and seeing that, but make sure you're taking a conservative method to it and not or conservative approach and not being too aggressive, feel free to check out my link for BTCC for a 10% deposit bonus when you use my link in the chat in the description. Also, you can get a up to $10,055 depending how much you decide to put in there and different milestones that you hit. You can get 40% lower trading fees, and you could trade all the way up to a 500x leverage. So if you guys are interested in making some profits, again, I have some decent profits here, up 700%, 400%, another 400%, 21% here, and I will most likely make some more investments as we see this downturn that we're currently looking at. So I'm excited for where that will be and where the low points will be so that I could find the right investment. So I'm gonna have to keep watching it. What sucks is that I'm not always watching the markets. So this starts at 1 o'clock, meaning that someone would have to be here to get the kids off the bus. And my niece is going to be in college, so I don't know if I'll have anybody. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it either way. I hear people mention the market cap. Some say the market cap is uh, obsolete in terms of XRP will rally to 10, 50, $100, etc. And then some saying it will drop below $1. I'm gonna hold and just see. So for 10, 50, and $100, I think, those are believable market caps for some people, right? They're not believable when you look at it compared to where Bitcoin is, because you're like, how is XRP going to get to a $5.9 trillion market cap at a $100 price point, right? $5.9 trillion we're talking about, that's a lot compared to Bitcoin. However, once you see XRP get to a $1 trillion market cap, now that becomes a little bit more reasonable, because maybe Bitcoin might be at a $3 trillion market cap. And you'll see the comparison, and you'll see that XRP has made strides and have been able to grow a significant amount because of what it is. If you start to break down XRP overall, and you're like, the overall stock market and where that stands, multiple trillions of dollars, tens of trillions of dollars, for what XRP can be and where it will be implemented. That's like saying you have a business that's going to be pushed and utilized by every government in the world, right? Every country in the world, right? It's a different story when you're looking at that and how it can be applied to the world rather than just a certain sector of business and what people want. It's like everybody can utilize it. And it's a different story when you look at it that way. But then when you also see it get to, again, a $1 trillion mark, well, now $5 trillion doesn't seem too far away. Same thing happened with $100 billion. Some people were like, is it even going to get to a $100 billion market cap again? I don't know if it ever will. Then when it did, now it's like $500 billion is definitely doable. $200 billion now where it stands about, it's like $500 billion. How about this? $1 trillion, right? People are starting to look at those and they can see it because it's within their vision. It's like if you say, can you walk to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a different place. Could you walk from one side of Pennsylvania to the other? Or can you walk over to, I don't know, Kutztown Water Tower, whatever. I can't see it from here. But then as I get closer and closer, people start to believe that you can do it, right? That's just how that goes. They don't believe you until they have it in their sights. People only believe what they can see. Hopefully that has a full explanation or can fully break down things. I'm having trouble speaking right now. Lunic is not dead. Lunic is actually a diamond in the rough. You pair Lunic with AI and it's over. I believe Lunic is a diamond in the rough as well. It's a sleeping giant. People don't see that. They only see it when it starts to react. Again, they only believe what they see, right? So if you're like, Terra Luna Classic can drop a zero, it's like, it's never in history done that. So why would I assume that it can do it? Oh, it gets close to it? Well, Terra Luna Classic can drop a zero. It's like, what happened, months ago? You said that it wouldn't do that and that there's no possible way. It's like, well, now it's different today. You can see it. Of course. Just change the code and find what people want. And they're complaining about the develop towards that. Swiftcoin is up. Nothing else is moving yet. I have Swiftcoin as well. I like Swiftcoin. I invested in that at, was it 40%? 40% of a penny? Let me go to Coinbase Home really quick. And let me look at Swiftcoin. Swiftcoin, I invested at 60% of a penny. I invested in Swiftcoin at 60% of a penny. I have 509,000 Swiftcoin. I think that there's so much potential there. And honestly, I think we're going to be able to make a boatload as this gets up to higher and higher points. I should have put more into it, and that's what a lot of people say. But I wanted to diversify. So I'm happy with what I have. I also already have my initial investment because I took profit as it went up to a level of 4.7 cents. So I took my initial investment at those levels. Now, if I create a $100 billion dummy coins, sorry, I need to cough. If I create $100 billion dummy coins and sell one coin for $1, that would be a $1 billion market cap. Is there $1 billion uh, of inflows? Nope. Market cap ain't shit. So you would actually have to sell that coin for $1, by the way, if you have $100 billion, and if you sell it for $1 also, you would have to have the liquidity for it. So market caps do mean something to an extent, but as you get up to a certain point what it's being used for, um, market cap ain't anything, because um, it really it really depends on how it's being used and the sectors into where it would be used. If you have a business that sells water bottles, right? It's basically the demand of that water bottle. And if you know that you priced well and you could sell it to everyone in the world, you know you can make a crazy amount of money. A crazy, well, it depends what the margins are, right? um, so it really depends on people that want to buy, and if they want to just continue to buy a lot, right? You can only have an extent of how that's going to be used, right? I'm trying to really put this all together because I lost my train of thought as I was speaking. So I feel like if I continue with this, it's just gonna go into a dumpster fire. But I was going somewhere with it, and I can't remember where that was. So I apologize. I was trying to like save myself as I was going through it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should shut up here. Maybe I should just stop talking. I answered your question. I don't even know if it was a question, but I answered it. Market cap can, um I wouldn't say isn't anything. I feel like market cap has a lot of value. It gives people, especially when it comes to goals, right? It gives people a goal to obtain, knowing that Bitcoin is at a $2.3 trillion market cap. Everybody's like, nothing can get past a $2.3 trillion market cap. Nothing's going to be worth more than Bitcoin. And that's not true, right? You have the potential for anything to jump past it, depending on the popularity, depending on the use case, depending on the support and adoption, right? If um, every country in the world came on and said, you know what, we're replacing our currency with XRP, what would happen to XRP? It would explode, right? They're gathering as much XRP as possible. They're holding it as a reserve. Bitcoin is now tumbling because everybody's putting their money from Bitcoin over to XRP. It can completely change hands at literally the snap of a finger. But people assume that, oh, Bitcoin has been here for so long, it will stay there for so long, right? Matt, what's your thoughts on Jasmy's price action? Rejected off of 2 cents 3 times since June. I don't really think anything of it at the moment. um, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it reject off of some of these levels that people would consider are pretty strong resistance points. But as we see the market flourish, the altcoin season actually flourish, we'll see it break through that ceiling very easily. Resisting off of there 3 times usually is not a great sign. Obviously, I'm not looking at it right now, but it's not something I'm worried about. If you're thinking short term, yeah, um, seeing that, seeing it bounce off of there and seeing it pull back, and uh, I'm always looking for the next support level because obviously I'm very bullish on it. Ripple sold 300 or 239 million XRP this month, so it's only making money on XRP and Ripple. Yeah, I mean, they are releasing XRP to the public every single month. Right? That's how it goes. That's their plan for releasing it. And it will make Ripple more valuable. It will give them more opportunities to create partnerships. Um, there's many positive things you can take from that. But however, people look at the the negative side going, "Oh, this is dilution." And it is dilution. It is. However, XRP has been growing in price. So even though you're seeing that dilution, you see XRP up to $3+. You see it get up to $3.60. So it's not something that bothers me. It's not something that should bother you because it has a max supply. It will never exceed that max supply. And then once they get to a point, every cryptocurrency is sold and bought. Once you get to a certain point where all cryptocurrency is out there, every cryptocurrency is sold and bought. That's how the market works, buyers and sellers. But right now, with the dilution that's at hand, they have a plan. They're telling people the plan. They're implementing that plan. We still see the growth in these positions. We still see it get to a $200 billion market cap. We still see the multiple billions of dollars that are going through XRP a day. You know how many, if I look at how many XRP was sold this day, the last 24 hours, the volume in a day. If we look at this, this is how much of an impact that actually is. 239 million XRP have been sold this month. 2 billion, right? 2 billion XRP have been exchanged today alone. If you take that, I'm not trying to go there. If you take that 2 billion and you multiply it by 30, you're looking at 60 billion coins. Now, if you take the 238 million by divided by the 60 billion, you have 3%, right? 0.003966666667. This is a very small amount of the XRP that is being moved in a day. There's not 2 billion XRP that's being added every month. In circulation, there have been less than a billion that has been added every month. They had a goal of adding a billion every single month, but they haven't actually added a billion every month. You're looking at 60 billion that's being moved in and out, buyers and sellers, every single month. And people are concerned, or you're concerned, over 238 million. Like, that's the type of stuff. Yes, in the end, it creates a dilution to where now, in order for it to be at a $3 price point, it has to be at a 100, or it has to be at a $300 billion market cap, right? This is to where market cap will matter. Eventually, we will see that market cap won't matter when it's literally worldwide and heavily used worldwide. Is this even live? No, it's not. It's not live. This is just a video recording, and it's not live. So sorry, guys. You think I'm answering your questions, but I'm not. Look at the court documents. The court documents were it's information that's before the proceedings happened. When they actually made that plan to offer 2 billion or offer 1 billion a month, and which they didn't do because they're consistently adding less than that every single month. That was where they were adding beforehand, right? Before all of this plan took place. You're looking at things that happened in the past and how they were adding XRP versus how they're adding it now. Because if you literally look at the numbers, it'll tell you that they're not adding 2 billion every month right now. They're adding hundreds of millions, and they had a plan of adding 1 billion a month. But it's still a very small amount compared to the amount of volume that happens in a given month. We're talking about billions. And before, it was, you're looking at not only tens of billions, you're looking at hundreds of billions because it was a lower price. And you still saw a lot of volume and a lot of movement. And now you're seeing $6 billion of volume at a $3 price point, and you're seeing 2 billion coins that are happening just today. And that's still a low number compared to where it was previously, where it was yesterday and the day before that. Why is XRP struggling every time you get to a few cents? What does that mean? Can you make a quick video on getting Luna Classic on Kraken? Yeah, I mean I could do that. If that's where you, hopefully most people want to see it, but I can make a video about that. It's very simple to do it. It's through um, you have to make sure that you're sending it to the right address. But yeah, it's a little bit more complex than what you do for like Coinbase, or if you're trying to just move money around. But typically, it should be straightforward. SRP is about top for this cycle, and when you have founders dunking on, I don't understand why you even think that. It's not even the case. People are. This is the thing. Spreading misinformation is crazy, is wild, and I don't want to suppress anybody's comments, but you're spreading misinformation. Meme coins have more volume than XRP. How? $6 billion? Are you joking? All meme coins, yeah. If you talk about all meme coins, yeah, they have a lot of volume and a lot of high market cap. But no, I still don't even know that. Let's go ahead and check and see if that's the case. It may be the case because meme coins do have a lot of volume. A $10 billion worth of volume out of all of the meme coins that are out there, and you're talking about literally every single meme coin, and you have $6 billion worth of volume in XRP. It takes an entire meme coin market in order to be worth more than XRP and see more volume than XRP. Why is that the discussion? Last week, Pepe had a higher than 24-hour volume than XRP. When? XRP at one point was like $12 billion, if not more than that, actually, last week. All right. Well, good luck on your future endeavors. I don't care what you have to say. I really don't. It's, you obviously don't like XRP. So then if you don't like XRP, just leave the live stream. And you can say what you want to say, and but just continuing to repeat the same thing that's just false, that's not true, is crazy. To say that the founders and everybody is dunking on XRP holders, they told you what they were going to do. They're going to offer 1 billion a month XRP out there, and they haven't done that. They've done less than that. Some are exit liquidity in hindsight. He's in it for kickbacks, and he gets especially encouraged when people to margin trade. No morals, this guy. He's in it for kickbacks, and he gets especially encouraged for people to margin trade. I mean, I like opportunity. Opportunity is great, and when you have the opportunity to leverage trade, and you can do it the right way, and you can show your successes, not only just going, oh, hey, leverage trade, you're gonna make a bunch of money and then not do anything with it. Like, I'm actually using the platform. I'm actually growing an account from 500 to where it is $3,200. So examples matter. Results matter. And if I'm making money from my leverage trades, as I make these leverage trades, as I continue to invest, I feel like you're gaining something from it. It's more about giving people the opportunity rather than that. Yes, I get a small kickback from being a partner with BTCC, this platform. Give me a second.
Matt underscore 638 donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Hey Matt, haven't seen a video from you in a while on LUNC. Do you still feel it's a sleeping giant or that it will actually become something?
So yeah, I actually have done a video on Terra Luna Classic. It might have been a day or two ago, but obviously they're not getting as much traction because Terra Luna Classic doesn't have the popularity right now on YouTube. It's everybody and their mom is still talking about XRP and the movement there. But Terra Luna Classic, yeah, I still feel like it's a sleeping giant. I still feel like it has a lot of potential there. It's just we have to see things get structured the right way if we're looking to make hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars from it, right? Not only from just an investment side of it, but also from a use case perspective, right? If you see um, Terra Luna Classic um, with a higher supply of 5.9 or 5.6 or whatever it is trillion coins, getting to a 56 or $59 billion market cap is not insane. It's not absurd for something that has popularity and it can essentially see a lot more growth and a lot more FOMO into it. However, the mindset we want to have is not just towards how much money we want to make, but also about the recovery of Terra Luna Classic. If the message is that, the gains are a lot more. So while I do still believe that even without everything else, without implementing burns and exchanges, without seeing bigger names and seeing even Do Kwon in a way come back and just find a way to support Terra Luna Classic in a bigger way, without all of that, just seeing the FOMO, the rise of it, and the support of Terra Luna Classic, we're going to see it get to a $50+ billion market cap. I think that that's a no-brainer that we will see that. And that means that my value it'll be about a 1 cent price, and my value of what I hold will be at about $500,000. Now, if we wanted more from that, not only from a gain perspective, from a use, we would push for exchanges to burn Terra Luna Classic, right? To burn 1% of their supply, not for us to gain, but to recover the chain, right? If our mindset is to recover rather than to, just profit, then we end up profiting more, right? Because if we're looking to recover the chain and it gets to a point where we can burn down that supply, and then eventually we have a level to where we're like, we'll do a reverse split, and I could break all of that down maybe in a later video. If we decided to do all of these things where the supply can be burned by, not necessarily exchanges, but they implement it within off-chain transactions, not only on-chain transactions, we can see a massive amount burn off to where now we're at a maybe 1 trillion supply. And if we're at a 1 trillion supply, we could then do a reverse split where we do a 10-to-1 reverse split, removing a zero. It's now at 100 billion supply instead of a 10 trillion supply. And now when we want to see it, 100 billion. So if we wanted to get to a 50-cent price point, that would be a $50 billion market cap, right? Now we can see more burns that are happening. The burn system doesn't go away. and we continue to see those burns until it drops down to about 10 billion. Well, now it gives us the ability to get to $1, $2, and at the $50 billion market cap level, a $5 price, meaning that it could support the US TC price point to get that back to $1. Right now, you have the algorithm back in place. We officially recovered the chain, and now we can support it with whether it's BTC backing, or it's stablecoin backing, whatever it is, right? Another stablecoin to back this stablecoin. We could support it and find a way to support it a little bit more than what it was before, and have a reserve just in case something like that happened again. And if we're looking to recover it, there's so much more that we can gain from it financially, because if it does do a reverse split, let's say my 54 million, if you cut off a zero, I now go from 54 million to 5.4 million. However, we now have the ability to get to a $5 price point. If we're at $1, I gain $5.4 million. If we're at a $5 price point, right, 25 plus million dollars from that, right? So it gives you more opportunity if you're working on the recovery rather than working on just a financial gain for yourself. Because, yeah, I would like to see $500,000, but more of what I would like to see is everybody else succeed. If I have the potential to make $25 million, that means that everybody else, some people that have more than me, some people that have less than me, have the potential chance to make potentially millions of dollars, or now hundreds of thousands instead of their thousands, right? But again, that's all opportunity, and it depends on what they want to accept. So I'm excited for what the future holds and where it will go, but it really does depend on how our message comes across, because exchanges don't want to implement a burn if we don't have a plan to secure the chain, right? What does it mean for them if they're just going to establish some sort of burn, decrease their supply, and then they're going to fatten our supply. They're going to fatten our pockets, and then we're just going to go, you know what? We'll sell right now, and then once we sell, it devalues what they're holding, what's on their balance sheet. They want long-standing cryptocurrencies on their balance sheet, long-standing assets, not these ones that are going to be like, hey, we're pumping, and then we're all going to dump it, right? That's not what they want. So again, that's the way that I feel about it. Terra Luna Classic has a lot of potential, but there's so many steps. Simple steps in the beginning, and then they start to get to maybe more complex steps, but everybody has to be on the same page, which we're not. There's many people that are following the footsteps of just trying to implement utility as where it is and create this new normal, which the new normal is not working. It's not going to work. Powell doesn't want rate cuts because Orange Man bad. Powell now owned by the swamp. I have 15,000 XRP. Will I be rich? You'll have the opportunity. It depends on your situation and what you want to accept. There's many people that will see the growth, and as you have less, let's say you have 2,000 XRP, there's many people that will see the growth and they'll go, this is a lot of money. It's $100. I have 1,000 XRP. That's $100,000. I've never seen that in one spot. So they take all of it, and that's fine. And it also depends on what your definition of rich is. Any investment that you make, you have plenty of opportunities to make more money for yourself, make less money for yourself, make the best out of that situation. Like, you have so much to think about, and that's why it's always great to have a plan going into it. It really depends on your situation and what you want to accept. The real question is, will it change your life? If you have student loans, if you have car loans, if you have credit card debt and all this stuff that you feel like you need to find a way out of, then maybe this could be, in a way, or could have been your way out of that. And it improves your life because now you don't have to worry about paying any of those things because you already paid them. So now you can sit pretty knowing that you can save more money and you can invest more money for the future. That could be the case. I don't know your situation, but you'll have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to become wealthy. It's just whether you want to take it at certain points. At what point will you take your seed money out of XRP? When it does a 5x or 10x? So I don't know what X it will be, but my seed money that I'm taking out is going to be at $5, which is a low point by a lot of people's standards. But I tend to do that with every position that I own. It's not the lowest point possible, but it is a significant gain. I took my seed money out of what's it called, Swift Coin. I took my seed money and a lot more out of GameStop. I took it out of VSG. I took it out of all of my leverage trading positions as they are up 600% right now. If I wouldn't have, I would still be up 600%, but on the original amount, which means I would be up about $1,500 on Ethereum and over $1,000 on Caspa and over $1,200 on AVAX. But the point is that I take my seed money and maybe a little bit of profit out relatively early. I feel like $5 is still early, but that's my point. I hate how the market does right now, and I hate how Jasmy performed. It's tough when you're looking at positions like Jasmy Coin and you see where it was and where it is, especially if you invested at maybe a little bit of a higher point. It may feel horrible, right? This is over a lifetime, but it may feel horrible because it's down by 16% over the last 7 days. You look at the year and you see the highest point that it got to, and you're like, it's so far down from where that was. But all I see is opportunity. That's all I see. Obviously, I still hold my 1 million, but I've been trading off and on Jasmy Coin on leverage trading platforms. So I've been trying to get profit as we've seen some of these dips, have we seen some of these increases to 2 cents, but it's gonna take off. It's gonna get there. It's gonna get to 4 cents and 6 cents and 10 cents, and we're gonna be able to profit a good amount. From it. It just sucks seeing it underperform. But altcoin season hasn't happened yet. You got 241 people that are following Jasmy Coin that have it in their watch list. 94,000, almost 95,000 holders in this. For a big pump, we need a SEC drop case, ETF approval, rate cuts before a big adoption can take off. Retail just have to wait. Have to wait how it plays out. Have to wait to see how it plays out. Nothing more we can do. Only buy them and stock up. It sounds like at least XRP has a roadmap for potential with all those examples. I mean, there's always been a roadmap in a way, a community roadmap in a way of where things are going for XRP and what we plan to happen. But again, there's a lot of things that are happening behind closed doors that we don't know about. And some of those things may have pieces to what we want to see happen, and some of them might be other things or brand new things. But it's been about 2 hours and 30 minutes that we've been live. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to head off of here. But I do appreciate everybody being here, taking the time out of their day to watch me. I wanted to go live a lot earlier, but it is 10:30. I don't know how the markets are doing right now. Let me see how my um, portfolio is doing. Looks like it's down by $185. It's not a lot. I will do a portfolio update probably in the next 2 days to talk about my dividend portfolio. But yeah, things are going to do what they're doing. Hopefully, we can see some major success in the future and we can see a bounce. It's good to see in the last hour up by 0.47, 0.55% for XRP. That's good to see. But anyways, if you guys want to, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. If you guys want to start leverage trading again, I'm probably going to put through a leverage trade today. Before I actually head upstairs, I'm going to put through something, and I'm actually going to go on Patreon and talk through that. If you guys, want to check that out, feel free to view it on Patreon. I'm trying to get this Patreon chat kind of up and running and starting again. We got a lot of members, free members in Patreon. We don't have a ton of paid members in Patreon because of the chats just haven't been where they should be. I don't use Discord anymore. I just use the community chats in Patreon, and most people decide to reach out to me directly rather than reach out to the group. And I want to create more of a group discussion so we can have more of a conversation there, and talk about different leverage trades that we're making, different opportunities that are out there. And we're not talking about just spamming, opportunities that, that are just like Memecoin related. We want to see some utility related opportunities as well as some short term opportunities in leverage trading here. So, anyways, I'm going to go and make a new trade. If you guys want to check it out, feel free to check out the link in the chat. 10% deposit bonus. You can get a 10,000 or up to $10,055 and 40% lower trading fees. So I'm going to go ahead and make a trade, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully we see some positivity today. I want to see XRP run. I want to see Jasmy coin run. I want to see Ethereum make some move and get up to $5,000 or so. And we'll see how all